Hey guys, Lives here. In today's video, I kinda want to talk about something I'm extremely passionate about, and that is male characters in Genshin Impact. Now, we all know that Genshin Impact is well known for its female characters. However, today I will try to change your mind and make you decide to play as only male characters moving forward from today's onwards. Now, let's begin with the first reason is, as we all know, height is quite important both in life and in games. And Genshin has a lot of child characters, and all of them are female. Which brings me to my point. If you play only as males, you'll completely avoid child characters, which is a massive plus in my opinion. And it only leaves strong, tall men that will always be by your side. Now, if that doesn't sound like a good idea, I don't know what will. As we all know, height also brings a lot of advantages game-wise. You are more likely to run faster, climb faster, glide faster, and even swim faster, so it brings a lot of benefits from both visual perspectives, as your view is much greater, it's much at a higher perspective, so you can see much clearly. You don't get stuck. It's only positives in this aspect. So let's move forward to my second point, which is Genshin has some of the hottest men imaginable. We have Zhongli, we have Arataki Ito, we have Ayato, we have Albedo, we have Zhao, we have Child. The list just keeps going and going. So I don't think I will need to tell you why is it on the list, but at the same time it's quite understandable if you're a little bit of a newer player and you don't quite understand these characters yet. But let me tell you something. Zhongli is one of the greatest characters to ever grace this planet with his presence. So that just puts him above every single female character combined just by himself. And then we have characters like Arataki Ito, who brings a lot of fun and joy when you play him. We have characters like Ayato, who brings elegance and grace with him. We have characters like Albedo, who brings just model-like looks to the table. And then we have characters like Child, who is a little bit of a damaged goods type of character, but at the same time he's still extremely hot. So I think I made this point quite clear. Now, next point. You always feel extremely protected being surrounded by strong, muscular individuals, as well as Zhongli's shield. I mean, you can't really deny the fact that being protected by Zhongli is one of the greatest things you can possibly obtain in Genshin Impact, as it makes you pretty much invincible, it makes you akin to a god, nothing can hurt you. The only thing that can hurt you is if Zhongli rejects your feelings and rejects your love, and that cuts much deeper than any damage or death you can experience in Genshin Impact. Now let's move on. Another reason, which I'm quite sure most of you experienced at least once in your Genshin Impact career of sorts, is that you actually pay more attention to story and quests if you play as male characters, simply because you don't tend to stare at certain, let's say, assets of female characters when you play as them, and you get distracted. You don't pay as much attention to a story, you lose track of what you were doing. So, in which case, at the end of a story quest, you probably didn't even realize what you just did after you've been staring at Ganyu's ass for about 40 minutes. Now, that might sound like fun to a lot of you, but at the same time, you gain new appreciation for storytelling. Now, there's not much in the Genshin, but at the same time, you might as well do it, because there's not much else you can do. Let's be clear about it. So next reason would be that you're most likely doing a lot of climbing if you play as strictly female characters, or female mostly, with characters like Lisa, who is pretty much only played as a cliff climber. So by cutting that by about 80%, you probably will save at least 4 hours a day of your Genshin Impact experience, which is gonna give you a lot of time for doing other type of stuff like grinding, appreciating Zhongli for about another 2 hours, and that leaves like an hour maybe doing Spiral Abyss or something. I don't know what you're into, but in my opinion, that's quite a much better investment of your time, and quite frankly, time is money, so invest your resources quite wisely, in my opinion. Which also leads me to a point that if you play strictly as male characters, you are more likely to actually wander outside once in a while, instead of being stuck inside playing Genshin Impact 24/7, which brings a lot of benefits, like for your life in general. You get a little bit more healthy, you get a little bit of vitamin D in your body. It just benefits all around. Unless you're strictly playing as Zhongli once again, in which case, I salute you. You're fighting a good fight, and keep on going, because as a Zhongli main, I do understand the importance of fighting a good fight. So just keep moving on and doing what you're doing. The next reason is quite topical because, in my opinion, you would be less likely to actually spend your hard-earned money on stuff like rolling for Constellation for Ganyu, for example. And that brings up a lot of potential because you can spend that money on stuff like food, rent, basic necessities, electricity, stuff that would actually brings you some benefit, unlike buying a JPEG who would most likely never appreciate you for who you truly are. Unlike stuff like food that would actually make you live longer, and maybe a little bit of skincare routine would bring you some good as well, like buy some lotion or something. So I think that brings me to my next point, which is you're most likely being quite distracted while playing Genshin Impact. And what I mean by that is that you most likely watch a lot of fan art of adult kind, and it takes a lot of time, I've been there. Sometimes you just get into a rabbit hole of like looking at Ningguang fan art, and next thing you know, it's 3 hours past and you've done nothing with your life except look at pictures of half-naked JPEGs, which honestly is not the worst spending time, but you could do something quite productive with the time, like start grinding, or actually making your damage a little bit higher, maybe do a little bit of leveling your characters, appreciate the scenery, do a bit of questing, maybe find a few chests here and there. So in my opinion, that would be quite beneficial overall. Next, I would say you would gain a new appreciation and respect, as well as adoration towards women. Because if you spend all your time being surrounded by strong individuals like Zhongli, Child, Arataki Ito, Ayata, you kind of will see life from a different perspective of somebody who not only sees women as an object of adoration, but as well somebody you can be friends with, somebody that maybe instead of just thirsting over, you can appreciate them for their personality, for who they are. In which case, I think that you would be more likely to gain their love in a sense. I know it's still JPEGs, but maybe if you show a little bit of actual caring about who they are, unlike just staring at their ass for half the time, maybe they'll show you some reciprocation. I can't promise that, but there's always a possibility, in my opinion. So, in conclusion, I think if you try out my method of playing as only males in Genshin Impact, you will attain something that can be bought with money, which is the entry ticket to a promised land of a bare-chested Zhongli's warm embrace, which I think is something everyone wishes and not many could attain. But I think by following my step-to-step guide of just playing as male characters for a low price of selling your soul, I think we can all get that in the end, and we can all attain final happiness. Thank you very much for watching. I was Light, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye bye!